I sit in the pool of Americans, about half of us, who watched what happened last night and come out of it very disappointed. I also come out of it a little bit scared, not just for me personally and my ability to live and love freely as I so choose, but also to my friends of color, to my friends of different religious backgrounds who have been watching over the last year as an almost unparalleled level of vitriol and hate surrounding an election in this country has permeated our entire culture. I don't want to make a video about how sad or scared I am about the election, because for me that doesn't do anything, because that's not something I can control at this point. The results are in. There's nothing I can do about it at this point. About 4.5 years ago, I felt pretty similarly to how I've been feeling over the past day or so. I feel this vacuum inside me, and I feel not sure of what my next steps are. And in that moment, 4.5 years ago, the last time that I used narcotics, I asked myself a question, and that question was, what do I do with this? And that's a question that I think all of us have to continuously ask ourselves throughout our entire lives, but especially in moments like this, in moments of large life events, of big change, we have to check and see, okay, what do we do now? What do we do with this? There's a lot in the world that we can't control. And that's a really depressing thought for so many of us, and it's one that has driven me crazy throughout my entire life. However, there is a freedom in that, because the freedom comes back to you individually. All you have control over is the energy you put out into the world, is the words that you speak, is the kind of person that you are, how you react to the world around you. That's all you're in control of. And I think when posed with big things that may be scary to us, when posed with large life-changing events that maybe will leave us a little bit hopeless, depending on your perspective in this whole thing. When we're posed with things like that, we have to make decisions about the kind of person that we're going to be through that. When things don't go my way, sometimes there comes this artistic and creative clarity in my life. I'm notoriously the kind of person who needs to get punched in the face before I wake up and do something about it. I have to believe that hate can't win. I have to believe that me personally, in all of this, I have a role to play. I have to believe that while I disagree and am oftentimes very angry at some of our population right now for the decisions that they've made, we all still want the best. And that means different things to different people. So many of us are navigating this insidious and ugly scaffolding of racial divide and hatred, of religious persecution, of all of this that's been in place for hundreds of years. And a lot of us are not successfully navigating that scaffolding. But all I have control over is myself. And this is something I used to say to kids when I would coach them in speech and debate all the time. I would say, go in there, do your best, because that's literally all you can do. That's all you can do. People will say what they're going to say. They're going to do what they're going to do, and oftentimes we cannot even have any kind of influence on that, and that is so disheartening at times. But in others, it's galvanizing. In others, it's freeing. When you remember that you are only in control of you and the energy that you put out into the world, that's when you can choose love, and you can choose to fight and believe in the things that you want to believe, and open your heart up to other people and listen and learn and grow and take steps forwards in your personal life. Nothing stops with us individually because of an election result. Nothing changes about who you are as a person because of an election result. You are still just as valid, you're still just as real, you are still just as heard, and you are still just as significant, even if the results show you differently. Because there are people who stand with you, and I stand with you, and I will listen, and I will be here, and I will be fighting my own battles while also trying to link arm in arm with other people's fighting their own battles. And I choose to go into those battles. I choose to go into those battles stripped of armor. I choose to go into those battles vulnerable and emotional and empathetic. I choose to go into those battles being relentlessly myself, and open to both attack and connection. I choose that because I have to choose that, because that's who I am, that's who I want to be, that's the kind of individual I want to be. Regardless of your perspective of what went down last night, I love you. I stand with you so long as you stand with me. So long as we stand together and move forward and work to make this a better world, not just country, a better world for each and every one of us. especially those of us who haven't had it as great as each other. And that's all I got.